All right, guys. Hi. My name is Joseph Scalise, and I'm the one who runs the Noble Gwentry, and this is the weekly series, which is Deck of the Week or featured deck that will be new every single week. Just looking at different lists that I think are really strong. I think lists that are very powerful or lists that are good for climbing the ladder. And these are going to be all over the place. Sometimes they're going to be some crazy decks. Sometimes they're going to be really strong. Sometimes they're going to be budget. Sometimes they're not going to be budget. It really just depends on the cards that the cards that I have and the cards that I think are good at the time and the way the meta is settling. So let's get right into it. This week's deck is Weather Monsters, and this is what it looks like. We will just break it down. So the idea of this deck is to control the board with weather cards. In this case, Biting Frost, and these, and then pump up that with some strong combo and tempo plays with Wild Hunt Navigators. You've got Wild Hunt Warrior, and we've got everything. So we'll go through all the cards. So the base combo of the deck revolves around the Wild Hunt. So your leader is going to be Aridin. He is a 5-mana gold, and he spawns a Bronze Wild Hunt unit. So he can spawn either a Wild Hunt Warrior, which is a 5 strength card that when you put it into play, it does 3 damage to an enemy. You can spawn a Wild Hunt Hound, which summons a Biting Frost, a Wild Hunt Rider, which is a 6 attack card that when it comes into play, if you are losing at the end of the round, it stays on the board for the next round, or you can get a Wild Hunt Navigator, which summons one of these from your deck. So the core of the list, as I just mentioned, is around not only Aridin, but around the Wild Hunt. So these are all of your Wild Hunt cards. They are all very strong in their own right. The Wild Hunt Warrior, being able to hit an enemy by 3 and then getting boosted by 2. So this is essentially a 7 that does 3 damage if you kill something, which is a 10-point swing. Very, very powerful. Even if you don't get the extra points from it, it's an 8-point swing, and for a bronze card, that's very good. Also, the Wild Hunt tag is very important. Wild Hunt Hound, which the entire deck is built around. Basically, you play this, and it gets you a Biting Frost. Now, notice it is a summon a Biting Frost, and so you have to pull it from your deck. So we have 3 Biting Frosts in this list to go along with the 3 Wild Hunt Hounds. And 1 copy of Wild Hunt Rider. So the reason there is a single Wild Hunt Rider is the main combo in this deck is you play a Wild Hunt card, Bronze Wild Hunt card, and then you play Wild Hunt Navigator, you target that Wild Hunt card, and you bring another one out of your deck. So you thin your deck, you get tempo plays, you go turn 1, Wild Hunt Hound, frost your board, maybe frost the bottom row, the melee row, and then next turn you play Wild Hunt Navigator, get a second Wild Hunt Hound, and frost their siege row. Now you put frost on 2 sides of their board, you've put 8 more power out, and you've thinned your deck by 2 cards. Wild Hunt Rider is a single copy in this deck because Aridin, a lot of the time, will summon a Wild Hunt Rider because it's an 11-point tempo swing, and if you've already won round 1, in round 2, playing Aridin plus the 6 basically means you're going to lose the round, but you're going to be able to play this. You're going to be able to keep this into round 3, and I found many times I would play Aridin, I would get the Wild Hunt Rider, and I wouldn't be able to trigger my Wild Hunt Navigator because I didn't have any riders in the deck. So I like the 1-of for that situation, and on its own it can still be played and put down. And then of course we have the Wild Hunt Navigators, which trigger all of these, the Biting Frost, which you need for the 3 Wild Hunt Hounds, and then finally, I like Alzur's Thunder a lot. This is really a tech space. This could be Demetrium Shackles, this could be this guy right here, Stammelford's Tremors. You could run other units. I just really like Alzur's Thunder because the ability to pick off a minion is very nice. There's a lot of minions that you want to kill immediately, things like Mangonel, things like warships, long warships or whatever that you want to get down, and this is a pretty good way of doing that. Also kills things like Octavist, helps you take out things that can be buffed. There's a lot of uses for it, and I really like this. And then of course we're running 1 clear First Light, which can get you clear skies, which is pretty essential. I haven't seen enough weather early on to justify 2 of these, but the Alzur's Thunder could also become a second First Light if you really wanted to do that. And then our silver slots are Nithril. Now Nithril is a card that I wasn't very excited about. He's a 4 strength unit that has 2 armor, or 3 armor rather, sorry. and he makes your Frost do 2 damage. That doesn't seem very good, but the more I play this card, the more I like it, because a lot of the times you're going to have Frost out. Your opponent's not going to answer it. You play Nithral, and he immediately gets you a huge power swing. He has to be dealt with, or your opponent has to deal with the Frost, which is anti-tempo and lets you keep going, so I really like him. We also have Fiend, which is the lock for monsters. And not only do you lock something, but you damage it by half its power, and it ignores armor. Very, very strong card. If you want to run a lock, you want to run Fiend. If you don't have Fiend, you could run Cleaver in its place, but Fiend is obviously superior. Also, Jotun. This is a card I initially put in the deck just to test. I was like, I wonder if this card will be good. I wonder if this card will do anything. So you play it, and it moves 3 adjacent enemies to whatever row you put this into, and that is very strong. And this is combos with Frost. It does a very nice job of just pulling things down, and because it damages all of the units you move, it's a 12-point swing if you can hit 3 units, which is one of the things I use it for a lot. And then we also have Frightener, which is the card draw. It is a 10 power unit. You spy, you play on your opponent's board, and when you play it, you draw a card, and then you move the units next to it to a different row on the same side. So this is also a very nice card that combos with Weather. You play Frost in the bottom row, your opponent plays some things in the Siege row, you play Frightener on that row, hopefully you knock one of those down, and now it's in the Frost. Not only that, but it's card advantage. And it's very, very strong and very, very important card advantage that you need for the deck. And then finally, we have Water Hag. Spawn Clear Skies, Lacerate, or Torrential Rain. This card is very strong. 3 abilities that are good. It acts as a second Clear Skies when you need to get rid of Weather. The Torrential Rain comes up every once in a while, but the reason it's in the deck is because of this free Lacerate. So you will notice we've got Jotun pulls things into the same row. Frightener can put things into the same role, and then this card right here, Caranthir, one of the best golds for this deck, probably the best gold for Weather right now. Deploy, move 5 enemies to this unit's row on the opponent's side. So whatever row you put that into, you're going to drag 5 enemies to that row, and you put Frost on the row. That is very strong in and of itself, because you're basically frosting all 3 rows because you're going to have 5 enemies to hit. And you get a 5 gold. But not only that, playing Caranthir and getting all of your opponents on one row and then using Water Hag with Lacerate is one of the best ways to win this game with this deck. Very, very strong. And then rounding out the deck, 1 Royal Decree. I've actually been very impressed with this card. If I had Gales, I would play him instead of Royal Decree. But basically, you want this slot to be either Royal Decree or Gales, depending on what you have. Just a gold card that can go get you one of your gold cards. All 3 of these gold cards are very strong. So we have Caranthir, as I said. He's one of your win conditions, and you want to be able to get him out every single game. Also, Imlerith, which is the starting gold, is actually very good in this deck. So he is a 8 cost. Deploy, you damage an enemy by 4. Now that in itself is pretty much always going to be useful, but if the enemy is under Frost, you damage it by 8, and that is unbelievably powerful. Very, very strong. And then finally, we have Caretaker, 4 mana, gold, resurrect a unit from your opponent's graveyard. Ample uses for this card. It's one of the best blanket legendaries in the game. It's probably the best monsters legendary in my opinion. If you don't have him, this last slot can be a couple different things. You could run things like Triss, which is one of the starting legendaries. There are not too many other monster legendaries I would look at, but Caretaker, if you have him, is very, very powerful. So this is what the deck looks like. It is a row stacking combo-ish deck that does a lot of things really well and plays the tempo game with the bronze units and then backs it up with really strong weather effects from things like Nithral, Caranthir, Jotun, and then just has a couple of value cards as well. So this is the deck. I will bounce on over to the games, and I'll see you guys there. Alright guys, it's game number 1 here. Playing some weather monsters on the actual ladder. I just hit rank 10 like an hour ago. Or not rank 10, I hit level 10 about an hour ago, and I can actually play real constructed. It'll be fun. It's always cool when you get that benchmark and you can actually get out of casual. Although casual is fine, it's a cool place. But I don't try decks on casual. That's just not how I roll. I don't think you get better at the game, nor do you really get to see how a deck is if you test it in casual.
Up and at 'em, lazy mingers! You'll sleep when you're dead!
Alright, we got
Dead Essa Krisa.
Herald the Cripple. So, with the mulligans for this deck, you really want to be looking for... You never want to keep Biting Frost, so we're going to get rid of both of these immediately. Then we'll get to the rest of our mulligan here. Caretaker is a great keep. Jotun is good. Wild Hunt Rider is not a card that, like, I'm terribly excited about either, but so would Herald be running Weather? And most Herald decks are like damage decks, so could be. So I want to keep the First Light. We also want to keep Scorch because they tend to get big minions like bears. I think we'll get rid of the Rider. And we got a Navigator. That is always the goal. So, one of the biggest problems I have with this archetype right now is that going first really sucks. All of these cards are by their nature reactive. This is reactive. These are pretty much reactive, and everything else is reactive. But we're going to lead with... If you have to lead with something, you always want to lead with a Hound. Skelia likes to buff up the melee row, so we're going to go there first. And you want to navigate a Hound pretty much always, not only because the Hounds are really strong, but because it pulls you 2 cards out of your deck. Okay, so Octavist is very good, and we don't have a way to kill it, so I think we actually may need to... Well, we can try to double ping it with Wild Hunt Warrior. I was going to say we could Scorch it, but I just don't think that's worth it. I think it's better just to do this.
Resistance is futile.
So Octavist, if you don't know, Octavist is a dragon. He damages all enemies by 1, and then you can return it to your hand. So it's basically card advantage on a 4-turn timer that also gets you tempo, and we're not going to have that.
There is no escape.
That's just not going to happen. We're not playing that game. We're going to try to resurrect him with Caretaker, and we'll be doing that at some point. So Clear Skies is good. Is it good enough here? That's the question. Clear Skies hits us for 4. I mean, Fog hits us for 4 every turn, which is not really what we want to do. But we also want to thin our deck with the Navigator. I think it's better to Clear Skies, though that Fog's pretty annoying. This is one instance where I'd rather have the Fog be a Frost. Alright. So it looks like he's just going to be weathering. That's kind of what he wants to do. I guess we'll do this. I do want to... We could hold off. We could pass the turn here. If we really want to. We go even on cards. He gets out ahead. Or we can make a tempo play. So the way Skellig Storm works, and that's what this is, by the way, is it does 3, 2, and 1 down the row. So we could block it, essentially, by doing this. And I think this is a good play. By putting this here. I guess this is actually going to die no matter what, so it's better to put this in the middle. This also thins our deck and makes our draws next turn stronger. And it keeps us ahead in tempo. It makes our opponent react. So if we play this here, this dies. Now this eats 3 instead of 2. Which is important. We could just do it again. Run it back. I don't think we need to, though. We could Jotun these to the middle, but then they're out of Frost, and that doesn't do anything. We could Royal Decree for Imerleth if we want to keep playing the tempo game. I think we actually just want to Arid in here for a Navigator. If we Arid in for a Navigator, I mean a Rider, then basically it says we don't mind if we lose the round, which I think is really important with the Skellig Storm right now. Kind of blocking our path. Although he could do some real work with Herald. But I don't think that matters that much.
It's dead as Creaser.
Go here, go here, go here. Do not go into that row. If you run out of time, the game just starts making decisions for you, and you do not want that. So yeah, we're keeping the tempo. It looks like he has Venom, which is fine. He really is pushing round 1, and I wonder why. I think we can always win round 1 if we want to with Caretaker. Maybe it's better just to get a gold going here. This does limit our Karen Thayer ability, but if we get Triss and kill the 5, like that's a really big tempo swing, and we invalidate this, which I kind of like. I wish we had Frost on the middle row, so we could Jotun down in the middle row, but I still think this is the fine play. We'll get I said Triss, I meant Emerald. And now this does nothing. He's down 15-3. If he wants to play a card here, yeah. So that's the pass. We do lose the Aerodin ability, but that's fine. He has to stay in round 2. And we're going to use that to our advantage by resurrecting Octavist. That was a really good draw. And that is a pretty bad draw. So we're going to get rid of the Wild Hunt Navigator. We have no targets for it. Ooh, Fiend is good. Fiend is quite good. So we want to bait out some removal before we grab the Octavist. And now we don't care if he resurrects Octavist because we have the Fiend. Exactly. Do-do-do. Yeah, let's just Fiend right away, I think. We could also Scorch, but I really don't want to use a Scorch if we don't have to. And it also kills our own guy, which is not great, so. We could also just play a Weather. He wants to stay in this round, so Octavist timer is 4. So he wants to be here for 4 rounds.
You crossed the wrong sorceress.
Yenkon, that's a good card. Locked Octavist down here. He's going to go down to 3. Down to 2, and then even if he unlocks him, we can just drag him with Jotun and kill him immediately.
Onward!
Annoying, but not the end of the world. So we do have to pass here. That is probably what we're going to do. We want to res Octavist next turn, and to do that we need to have a 4-turn timer. We're going to have 4 cards in our hand. He's going to go first. We pass here. We're down a card, but Octavist could make it up. He has Herald still, which is kind of a bummer. But we also don't want to fight through Yenkon. There's like no reason for this. And we have Scorch, which we can use to our advantage, so we're just going to ship the turn here. See what we draw. Hopefully something good. Nithral is actually not good. He's not good. We have no weather effects, so we'll just get rid of him. Frightener is actually not the end of the world. We can Scorch the Frightener, which is pretty cool. Do-do-do. So, the question is, do we even want Octavist? We could get Holgar here and kill this for a massive tempo swing. I actually think that's better.
Onward!
That seems much stronger because now we can use... Ragnarud. Annoying, but we're still ahead. We play Frightener here. We actually don't even need to. We can just play Jotun into this row. Although, if we play Jotun into this row and it gets hit by 3, it gives his Herald a lot of power. I think this is better. It stalls out Herald. Nithral's not really what I wanted.
I promise you a quick death.
Okay. So the question here being, what do we want to do? Just play Nithral, I guess.
I wonder how long you last.
Skellig Storm doesn't actually matter. And we Scorch here, he goes down to 7, he goes up to 3. I guess Skellig Storm does kill our Nithral. Yeah, dang it. We didn't get there. He gets to kill this.
To arms, all of yous.
We lose to Ragnarok, unfortunately. Oh, he has to shoot this. Oh, I did not know that's how that worked. So we just don't want to play in the siege row. I know, but Ragnarok's going to go off twice, isn't it? Oh, no, it's not. It's only going to go off once. We did it. Oh, man, that was a good game. I did not know that Herald had to kill one of your own units. That is very interesting. He's, for those of you that don't know, most of the leaders got changed going out of closed open beta, so I'm still not clear on every interaction, but we took down a bounty hunter. That's pretty good. That's game number 1. I will see you all for game number 2. Okay, guys, we're back with game number 2. I think I'm going to be doing 3 to 4 games per video.
Not all battles need end in bloodshed.
Show you guys
Shall die, worm.
what it's all about. And we're going up against Reveal Nilfgaard. So that'll be interesting. We never want the Frost, so we're getting rid of the Frost first. First Light is not really that good here. Everything else in our hand is strong. We have a Frightener, so we want to try to win round 1. And Scorch is actually really, really good against Reveal Nilfgaard because of their spotters, which gets buffed up whenever things get revealed. They're their finishers,
the good
basically.
Of the Empire. That is what matters.
Okay, so Fake Ciri, the way this card works is she boosts by 1, and then when I pass, she goes to the opponent's side, but we can lock her with Fiend whenever we want and keep her around, which is nice. So Reveal Nilfgaard, I don't really know what row they like to play their stuff in. I'm pretty sure it's this row. No, because they have like... Well, a lot of their units are agile, which means they can go anywhere, so I think it's better to try here. Because they play their reveal cards that I'm blanking on the name go in this row. Okay, so he's just choosing to reveal 3 cards in our hand.
If it's
fine.
peace you desire, prepare for war.
He may be playing his 4. Okay, so he saw Emerleth, he saw Royal Decree, and he saw Wildhunt Navigator. We're going to play the Navigator right now, which is good. So one thing about Royal Decree that's really nice is when you get it, your opponent has no idea what it is, because they don't know what gold card it's going to get. Playing Kahir, going to reveal 3 more cards. He saw the Scorch. The fact that he saw the Scorch kind of stinks. But it doesn't really matter. We have no good targets for any of this, so I think it's better just to Fiend this now. A lot of... Oh, I actually didn't know that interaction. It's only damages if it's an enemy.
Enough gob flopping.
Huh. That's actually probably worth Scorching, if we're going to be completely honest. But we can wait to do that. If I had known that's how this worked, I would have waited on the Fiend. I give him a chance to rebound, and now I can't play Frightener and Scorch both of them. That would have been really cool. But we can play Frightener under the weather if we want to, which I kind of like. It sets up a really nice Emerleth. And, more importantly, it keeps us in the lead. When you play a card draw, you want to make sure that you're in the lead, especially in round 1. If our opponent passes, we just give him the round. But I wanted to play this now because the fake Siri makes things so complicated. We, like, can't Scorch our own Siri, right? Because if we Scorch our own Siri, we basically lose the round anyway.
Spars Paragon Lort.
Triss is fine. So our opponent's down 2 cards. I think this is a pretty good time to pass. I don't want to keep messing around with fake Siri knowing we're going to lose the round anyway. But if we play Emerlith here and kill this, we might be able to get one more card out of him. I just don't think that matters that much. We also can resurrect fake Siri with Caretaker with Royal Decree anytime we want. Although he does have double Frost, so maybe it is right to use Emerlith. Maybe it's right just to use another Wild Hunt Navigator. But we're up 2 cards, and I kind of like being up 2 cards here. Yeah, she's a pretty good swing, but I also did not realize that the Fiend only damages enemies. I would have waited on that. It's okay. You live and you learn. So we don't need the double, although the double Navigator's not terrible with Aridin. And we're probably going to win this round pretty easily, so I'm going to keep both of them. I don't think our opponent's going to push too hard this round. He's down 2 cards. And when you're down 2 cards, you really don't want to get yourself in a position where you lose tempo and go in on round 2, because then you're down 3 cards and you're basically not going to come back from that. Like, if he goes in and we keep tempo, he basically loses another advantage. Yeah, he's just going to pass, which is the smart pass here. And we just play one of the Navigators. It's the weakest card in our hand.
We know the mysteries of time and space, all of them.
Such an awesome voice acting right there. So we have the combo, which is Caranthir and the Hag. And Nithril. This whole hand is very strong. The only unfortunate part is that Scorch, that he knows about it. We just lead with this. Or do we lead with Aridin? I believe we have one more Wild Hunt Hound in our deck, so maybe that's the play here.
Ested Esakrisa.
What row? We haven't really seen anything out of our opponent. We can also drag them into the row that we want with Jotun. Also, I think it's really funny, in closed beta,
mistake. I'm no mage.
the Frost row was the front row. Weather can only go in one row. So I always put Frost in the front row, like subconsciously, because of that, which I just think is kind of amusing.
Death comes for you.
I'm just gonna shoot this. There's like nothing in his graveyard. We have a Cleaver or a fake Siri. Both the fake Siri is actually not terrible. We could get her out soon with the Caretaker. The only problem is she might mess up our Scorch, which is what I'm a little apprehensive about. Weird clear there by our opponent. I don't really understand that. Can we just keep playing the tempo game here?
We know the mysteries of time and space.
We don't get the extra buff on this, but that shouldn't matter. It's still a tempo swing.
Praise be to the great sun!
Okay, so he has a spotter, so we definitely don't want to fake Siri. Well, actually, the spotters are pretty big. This is an 11. He probably has more of them as well. So maybe we do want to fake Siri. Maybe we just don't want to fake Siri yet. We play Nithral here.
Blood of a hand!
He's the card that we care about losing the least.
There's been a mistake. I'm no mage.
Okay, that's pretty good. We're going to drag these 2 units to this row. We could drag these, but obviously we lose a point of damage because this would only do 3 because Jotun does 2. We could also wait a turn on Jotun and get fake Ciri going, which I think is probably actually the better play. Got a Caretaker here, open in the back row. And we want to fake Ciri. And we're going to put fake Ciri out of harm's way.
The good of the Empire, that is what matters.
The only problem is that Caranthir's ability is not a... Ooh. That was good for us. Alright, and then we'll drag these 2 up to the middle row. Jotun is a card that I'm still a little not super sure of, but the fact is that it gets so much value like throughout the course of a game. I'm really liking it the more I play it.
Warum?
Okay, so the question is, do we want to start Caranthering? I don't think it's Caranthir time just yet. Maybe it is. No, because we want this to be the last 2 cards we play, probably. We could Scorch this, but I don't want to do that. We also want to damage the 10, not the 12. Because the other spotter is going to be the same, and it makes our Scorch better. We want him to play a unit this turn, and then we'll just play Caranthir. Should be fine. Ooh, Assassination. That's not worth a gold slot. So the question is, do we want to Scorch, or do we want to Caranthir? I think we Caranthir.
There is no escape.
Scorch still hits the spotter. And, of course, it does 2 damage because of Nithral. Like, look at this gap. It's such a powerful, like...
Tell me what you've got.
Ooh, Sandovold's Tremors? No, Clear Sky. Clear Sky is obviously not the... I guess he's... If that's the play you're making, you're probably dead no matter what. He knows our hand as well. I forgot about that. We could just swipe here. Use the Lacerate. Get some value. Or we can Scorch. I think it's better to Lacerate, because you never know how big the card in his hand could be. We Lacerate this board, and I just don't see him coming back from this. Nope.
Warum?
But if this was a closer game, notice that it's really important. We're not going to use the Scorch. That's just bad manners. But if this was a closer game, notice that that would have mattered, that we use the Lacerate first and not the Scorch. Those small things are very important in card games, and you always want to pay attention to them. So that's game number 2, and I will see you all for game number 3. Thanks for sticking around. Okay, guys. You know what game it is. It is game number 3. And I'll probably be doing 4 games today, especially to kick off the site, have the new videos up. We'll do 4 games. Ooh.
Ested esa Krisa.
Also, look at this cheeky bastard. He has Pioneer as his tag, but he's using the really nice border. Okay, so mulligans here. We want Immolith, Jotun, Nithral. These are all great. The Wild Hunt Hound. No Navigator to go with it, so obviously we always start by mulliganing Frost. Caranthir is really strong. Wild Hunt Rider is a card that we don't really need. So we want to keep the Owl's Thunder for this matchup because there's a lot of strong targets to hit. We are playing against Crash and Crate, yeah. So we'll get rid of this, look for a Navigator. Fiend, also very good. So I think we just ship one of the Wild Hunt Warriors. I didn't get it. And we're going first, which is never fun. We can just tempo. So we'll play the Wild Hunt Hound. We'll hit the front row. This is not always the row that Crush and Crate uses. He also might kill this immediately with something like the Pirate.
I promise you a quick death.
Why did he put that into Frost? He wants to damage this, but why? I don't know. So I think we're actually going to use Aridin here to thin our deck a little bit with the Navigator. This is something that I wouldn't recommend always doing, but it is something you can do in a pinch. It's definitely our best play. Ah, Mork Bag. Very, very cool card. Also, Fiend is just going to eat that for breakfast. We'll play Nithral here. He's good to get out early.
I wonder how long you last.
And you just get some extra value. We definitely want to lock Mork Bag. That is on our list of things to do, but we don't need to do it right away. We actually don't need to Thunder that either. Let's just play Jotun in the middle row. We'll bring all three of them up. This is a good play because it lets us impact the board and keep tempo without actually committing all that much. Our opponent should pass here. No. Okay, this is a really good pass for us. I gotta be completely honest. We're even on cards. Oh, this is tough. This is such a good pass. And then we just lock Morkvag next round. We definitely don't want him to have Morkvag going into round 3. But I don't know if it's worth going down. I mean, if we lock Morkvag next round, we go down a card anyway. If we pass and he wins the round, do we care? Yeah, I mean, Morkvag's base strength we can't actually see because this game just... There's some things they need to fix with Gwent. But it's open beta, so I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. I think if he wins the round and we don't do this now, it's really bad for us. I could have waited one more turn so he didn't get a chance to unlock Morkvag. Ah, Mutagen. I don't know if that matters. Do we pass now? This is could be another really good pass. We pass here. Our opponent wants to beat us. He has to play... He can't even unlock Morkvag, because if he unlocks Morkvag, we just tie. I think this is a pretty good pass turn. Because he has to use Donna. I guess he can use Darner to get ahead. Oh, he's gonna decoy. Okay. I didn't actually see that coming, but we're still tied. So he has to go down 2 cards now.
So what? Should I pound it into a poker?
Okay. So that's pretty good for our opponent. I'm not gonna lie. That's pretty good. Morkvag is a card that can be good in the right situations. I do not want this Frightener. He's just gonna pass, right? Then we have to come with 16.
Bow before mortal
Is he gonna try
prayer.
to 2-round us? Really? Don't know if I like that strategy.
There is no escape.
I could have played that smarter. I could have let Morkvag take one more hit and then
Bow
use the
before
Fiend,
mortal prayer.
and then it could have died.
Morhawk devour ye!
But
We know the mysteries of time and space, all of them.
such a cool entrance. I don't think he doesn't even need to 2-round us here, right?
Nothing better to do.
His plan is to... Yeah. So, let's look at what's going on in our graveyard. So we have one more Wild Hunt Warrior. We're going to take that.
Kaem Henginvel.
I should have killed the Gremist. That was a misclick. These are getting dangerous. Ooh. I would love to draw some cards. Yes, please. I don't want this card. Or maybe I do. No, these are all getting dangerously close to each other though, which is really good for us. What's in our opponent's graveyard? We're gonna want to take this with Caretaker, but I don't actually know what the right play here is. We are down by a lot. That is an unfortunate fact of life. We could use the Hag here to get rid of this, but that's just anti-tempo. I think we have to Karen Thayer. Well, maybe not right away. This is really tricky. We can't Scorch just yet. We'll just do this.
So what? Should I pound it into a poker?
Okay, so he's trying to two-round us, definitely. I guess we'll Karen Thayer here. The reason we want to Karen Thayer is because it gives us a good Scorch. It also gives us a good Emerlith and a good Grave Hag. So we lose 4. We are going to have to go down some cards. There's just no way about that. So yeah, that's the pass. We are at 13. Minus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Could also just hit him for 14. We can also Emerlith. This is going to be a tough game. I don't know how we get back into this. We need to do it in 2 cards. That's the tricky part. So we hit his whole board. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, but then this gets bounced back up. But then these all lose 1 from the Frost. Okay, we have to do this. Ugh, we didn't get to do it in the way that I wanted to. So close. We didn't get to do it in 2 cards. So the question is, I guess we just have to use Emerlith here. And we have to kill the ship. Maybe I played that one wrong. Maybe the math was off. Maybe I should have done this instead of using Scorch. I mean, we lost the game because of the Morkvag, I'm almost positive. I really messed up that first turn. Yeah, I mean, it's a 15, like, and we drew Frost. If we time the Morkvag correctly, we win this one. That's unfortunate, and not a good look. So I will see you guys for game number 4. Alright guys, it's time for the 4th and final game with Weather Monsters. We should be 3-0. I think we should have won that game. If I had used the Fiend correctly when Morkvag was down to 1 and then locked him and then he dies to the Frost.
My men know the meaning of sacrifice.
You can't bring him back with Decoy and then we probably end up winning the game. But whatever. Don't cry over spilled milk. We are now playing... Okay, so going up against Reveal. We definitely want these 3. Fiend is good. Nithral is also good. The Wildhunt Navigators are good, but they don't have anything to hit, so we're going to do that. First Light is a very interesting card. We actually want the Rider over... Looks like we have to go in with Aridin again. Round 1. Which is never fun. We'll put him in the back row. Play the Hound. And then we decided that this is probably the best row. So he's just gonna reveal. Oh God, that's stupid. I mean, it doesn't matter because we have a target. Also, he's discarding 2 of the 4s. I don't know what they're called.
Quiet, or the Commissar will hear.
Dalaran foot soldiers. Oh no, he revealed. Why did he reveal both of these? Huh. We're gonna get the Hound out while we can. Very important to always take the opportunity to thin your deck. You never know if something dies and then all of a sudden you're down. Like,
You will see it.
oh, he's playing. Ooh, he might be playing Nilfgaard, which is basically draw it through your whole deck as quickly as possible. I guess this is the proper tempo play, but I think it's better to do this.
Death comes for you.
Kill this, we go up, and then the Frost ticks them down, so we're still in the lead, which is all we really want right now. He responds with that, which is okay. And then I think we go for the last. I was waiting for him to use Clear Skies, but he hasn't used Clear Skies yet. Although there is a chance that he's seeing if we're going to play a third, but I also want to get these 2 cards out of my deck, so maybe it's just better to go all in here.
We know the mysteries of time and space, all of them.
Yeah, this makes it so even if he does Clear Skies now, it's a tempo loss.
Yield and save me some time.
Cool. Ciri is a very strong card. I think that means we have to pass. We don't want to go down a card and then have him get Ciri back and then just drown us in card advantage. It's not worth it. And we're tied right now, so he actually has to go down a card. Ciri doesn't work. So her ability is, if you're losing at the end of the round, you get to put her back into your hand.
Mistake. I'm no mage.
But she does not work if you get in a tie. Because you have to be losing for Brave to trigger. And a tie is not a loss. So yeah, I like getting out of that round. If we play any card, he immediately passes. And that just feels horrible. Scorch, very good against Reveal Nilfgaard, as I already said. And this is one of the rare times where Royal Decree does absolutely nothing. So is it better to get rid of Royal Decree, or is it better to get rid of one of our golds? I actually think it's better to get rid of one of our golds, because it hides it from our opponent. I don't want our opponent knowing we have Caretaker. Because if he reveals our whole hand and he sees a Royal Decree, he does not know what that is. If he sees our whole hand and sees Caretaker, then
I exist because Master Gehenna wills it so.
that's very good in round 1, not so good now. We can also lock it if we really want to. And we will play the Wild Hunt Rider to kick things off. That is a tempo loss, but we go even on cards. I'm fine with that. There's like nothing else I could have done anyway that was like a tempo play that put us in the lead. He may just pass here. I don't think we want to lock this. Doesn't this give us a 6? It does. I think a vanilla 6 is better than accidentally drawing the Caretaker. It's a 1 in 6 chance to draw the Caretaker, and if we just let him give us a 6, it's something to play on the board early too. Yeah, I don't hate that at all. So what card do we want to burn here? Alzur's Thunder is definitely a consideration. I think this is probably the one we want to burn. Yeah, I think the 1 in 6 to draw a Caretaker is horrible. We're actually just going to keep the vanilla 6. It also gives us a card to play round 1 immediately. And we obviously don't want to redraw. Also, we could have accidentally drawn
Great guests, foil intruders.
we could have redrawn,
There's been
what is
a
that card?
mistake.
Frightener as well.
I'm
So we
no
had
mage.
2 horrible draws in our last 6 cards.
Scheiß in 2.
So that was actually pretty good for us. Nothing to lock, nothing to Jotun. Probably just do this as a tempo play. You'll notice that a lot of the time you don't need to use Wild Hunt Warriors to get their maximum value. She's a 12. She is now susceptible to Scorch. She's also susceptible to Fiend because he resets things, which is really nice. I don't really know what I want to do here. I think we just Jotun. Bring everything down to the bottom row. We could also Nithral, which is like a neutral play. Tempo doesn't matter because we're in round 3. Playing this now is fine. It gives us a chance for him to play more things on the board, which helps us develop. I don't really want to use Fiend. It's basically another Scorch, and we don't need to use it right away.
I'm a dwarf of business.
Cool. Now I think Fiend could be an okay play. Cynthia's plus 8 right now, so this resets her to 4. Minus 8's pretty good. If he has spotters, we kill them with Scorch anyway. He doesn't know we have Scorch either, but he knows we have Fiend, which means he's probably playing around it. We also have Caretaker. What can we take? There's nothing good in this graveyard. So maybe we do want to Scorch. If we Scorch Cynthia, we can take her back with Caretaker off the Royal Decree, which is pretty good, now that I think about it. But then if we use the Scorch, we also lose value, although Fiend can get rid of one of the spotters pretty, like, immediately. I just think it's too greedy. So she's a 6. Interesting. Oh no, you just damage it by half its power. You don't reset it. So I like that play. It allows us to conserve a Scorch that he doesn't know we have. That's fine. That also tells me that he doesn't have that many reveal cards in hand, because this is a card you typically want to reveal. He's also playing around Jotun a little bit, which is kind of annoying, to be completely honest. Still, pretty good tempo swing. Puts us back in the lead. Okay, so he definitely must not have a reveal card. This is going to be our ending combo. But if we Scorch now, we hit 3 things. That's pretty good. This is a really tough one. We could also just Immorleth. This is fine.
The common folk. I care for them.
Also fine in a weird turn of events. It does dodge our Scorch, but it lets us play Caretaker now. So we're going to take this. Ooh, Fire Scorpion is actually. Oh no, the Guardian. This thing is a 12. Does make our Scorch worse though, and that's never good. Whereas Alchemist reveals a card, Fire Scorpion is a 9-point swing, the Guardian makes our Scorch worse. I don't know which one's the best play here. I think we take the Fire Scorpion.
I sense strong magic.
Cool. So we Karen Thayer here. We definitely don't have a need to Scorch yet. You guys are coming down. This is gonna frost the whole row. Ooh, Igni. It's pretty good Igni. Ugh, that's gross. So gross. Alright, we're gonna Hag. Lacerate. He goes down, and this is the problem with not having the last say. We did get a spotter out of him, so he probably has a second spotter, which is not going to be enough. And there it is. But that is the problem with not having the last say, because if he had a really big spotter and he could play it after our Scorch, we of course lose. But we didn't. So 3-1, pretty good. That is the Weather Monsters here on Deck of the Week. I'm Joseph Scalise. This is the Noble Gwentry. I hope you enjoyed the site. I hope you like the articles I put up. And I'm going to mix it up. Some articles are going to have videos. Some articles are just going to be articles. And I'm hoping to update 3 times a week and with the articles, and then probably do a power ranking and budget guides as well. And those will be coming at a later date. So thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Let me know what you think. Comments. Let me know what you think. You know, do you like the site? Do you hate it? What would you do differently? And all that good stuff. Anyway, I'm signing out for now, and hopefully I will see you all next week.